Alrighty, folks, it is week 8 of the SkiBallin Podcast, and it is mock draft time. Draft is this week, so obviously we're going to make this a little fun and get our mock draft going here. So, in the first round, mock draft, I have Kyler Murray going number 1. I don't think that's really a surprise to anybody. It's a perfect fit for Arizona. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury knows Kyler Murray. It's a perfect fit. Really no other mock draft I have that I've seen has anybody else besides Murray going number 1. Number 2 is Quinnen Williams to the San Francisco 49ers. I know some people do have Nick Bosa going to the 49ers, but I think the 49ers could use more of a nose tackle. This guy who's very talented in the interior has really great moves inside, kind of like Aaron Donald does. Now it's a stretch to compare him completely to Aaron Donald, but he really is one of those big, power-moving defensive tackles that really makes a lot of plays. So he can really disrupt the passing game and the running game, I think. So that's a pick I think that they should make. So that's number 2. Number 3 on my draft board, I have Nick Bosa going to the Jets. Nick Bosa, the defensive end from Ohio State, obviously the best pass rusher in the entire draft class. Definitely one of the most talented, so he's going to go to the Jets. I think he's going to be a pretty big difference maker for the Jets there. Number 4, I know Oakland has been rumoring to have a surprise pick in number 4, but I'm not going to take any chances with that, so I'm just going to pick Josh Allen from Kentucky. They could start off with some defense. Oakland really needs some defense right now, so they could start off with Josh Allen, so I think that's a good pick for them. Tampa Bay at number 5, they picked Devin White from LSU. I think that could really serve as a good replacement for Quan Alexander, who left. So I think that's a good replacement, but also a guy that they can work on to kind of get their defense on the back end, still some help there. Then number 6, the New York Giants. Now this is difficult because they also pick at number 17. So I do see the Giants picking Dwayne Haskins here because I don't think they can afford to wait until 17 because there's a couple of teams that need quarterbacks before they even reach number 17. Unless, of course, speculation-wise, the Giants could trade up to go up a few spots to try to get Daniel Jones like they want. And I think Daniel Jones is a great fit for them, especially because he's worked with the Mannings for so long and stuff like that. And he has a lot of good ties with them. But at the same time, I don't think they can afford to wait until number 17. So I think they would have to pick their quarterback now. Unless, of course, again, like if they trade up or not. But that remains to be seen, so I'm not going to speculate on that. So number 6, I have them taking Dwayne Haskins, so they have the quarterback for their future set. Jacksonville at number 7, TJ Hawkinson. I have them picking the best tight end there. Mainly because I think Foles really worked well with Zach Ertz in Philadelphia. I think he really likes using his tight ends well. I think TJ Hawkinson is going to be one of those that he can really use well in that Jacksonville offense. And Jacksonville could use a good playmaker on offense to have as well, besides Leonard Fournette in the running game. Number 8, the Detroit Lions. I have them selecting Rashawn Gary from Michigan. Detroit could definitely use a pass rusher like Rashawn Gary, and I think that could help them on the front of both running and passing defense so they can get some limitations and get some stops on defense against their opponents. Number 9, the Buffalo Bills, they select Jonah Williams from Alabama. You got to be able to protect Josh Allen somehow, so I think Jonah Williams will help them do that. Denver at number 10, I think they picked Daniel Jones. Now, I know some mock drafts have Denver picking some offensive guy, maybe some defense even, but I think Denver needs to get a quarterback, and I think they should select Daniel Jones because for whatever reason, if Joe Flacco doesn't work out, they might be screwed at the quarterback spot. So I think Daniel Jones, picking him there to back up, to develop, and probably to just back up Joe Flacco would be a nice addition to their team so they can kind of groom a quarterback to the future. Number 11, Jawan Taylor for Cincinnati. He is from Florida. Jawan Taylor, I mean, we don't know. Cincinnati, for all intents and purposes, could really pick the best player available in the draft board at this point. But if this year doesn't go well for the Bengals, and if they can't find an identity this upcoming season, this team might be in a full rebuild. But right now, I think it starts with the offensive line and trying to protect Dalton at this point. Number 12, the Green Bay Packers. They select DK Metcalf, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, giving a great playmaker for Aaron Rodgers to throw to, alongside with Devontae Adams. That is a great weapon for the Green Bay offense to have. and so that they can kind of mix up with. Miami at 13, Drew Lock. I think they have to pick a quarterback. They cannot. I don't think they can rely on Ryan Fitzpatrick as a starter, so they have to pick Drew Lock, select some kind of quarterback to back him up. Number 14, the Atlanta Falcons, Ed Oliver. I think Ed Oliver would be a solid pick for them because Atlanta could use a little bit more run-stopping defense in the interior, but at the same time, I think he is a very good pass rusher as well. So I think Ed Oliver would do a great job in that defensive line. Pairing him with Grady Jarrett would be a nice addition to the Atlanta Falcons defense. Washington Redskins. Now, there's a lot of speculation of what the Washington Redskins want to do since they still need a quarterback right now. They do have Case Keenum, but of course we all kind of saw how that worked out in Denver last season, so I don't think he's going to be the solid guy to start there. So they're going to have to either – the speculation is that they are trying to trade for Josh Rosen, but if not, we could also see them try to trade up to try to get their quarterback. So it's really about what they want to do with the quarterback spot at this point. For now, I'm not going to speculate on trades. So at 15, I think they select Devin Bush because they need a good defense linebacker to help them out in defense a little bit more, since they might be losing some defensive guys in the next upcoming season. And I think Devin Bush gives them a nice young presence again on defense. Carolina at 16, I have them selecting Noah Fant from Iowa, the other tight end, aside from TJ Hawkinson. I think this is a kind of a replacement for Greg Olsen, since Greg Olsen is really having a lot of injury problems and he's really on the back end of his career right now. And I think Carolina still wants to keep that, strong tight end mold that Cam Newton still loves. So I think Noah Fant will work with it within that system. Number 17, the Giants again. I have them selecting Montez Sweat, outside linebacker for Mississippi State. I think they could use another defensive guy besides their quarterback, so I think that with their second pick, they go defense, and I think Montez Sweat is a good pick for there. Number 18, the Minnesota Vikings. They need to protect Kirk Cousins, so I have them selecting Cody Ford, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma, to try to get them a better offensive line because they definitely need it. Number 19, the Tennessee Titans. I have them selecting Irv Smith Jr. A lot of mock drafts have them selecting a tight end because Delanie Walker is also on the back end of his career. Who knows if he can stay healthy? And I think Irv Smith Jr. is a good protege for Delanie Walker to raise, so he could work under that Tennessee Titans system. Pittsburgh Steelers are number 20. I have them selecting the cornerback they need, Greedy Williams from LSU. And I think Pittsburgh can really start off with getting a cornerback, a number one corner that can shut down some good wide receivers. And I think Greedy Williams will help them solidify that problem. At number 21, the Seattle Seahawks. Originally, I had them picking Brian Burns, the outside linebacker. But after this Frank Clark trade to the Chiefs, I switched my pick to Clelin Ferrell from Clemson. And this is really as a replacement for Frank Clark because now without Frank Clark, the Seahawks don't really have a good pass rusher, and Brian Burns isn't really going to fit that mold. So I think Ferrell, getting them a pass rusher like Ferrell, will try to somehow replace that. I don't think it's going to be to the same degree, but at least it's some kind of replacement for Frank Clark since he's gone now. Number 22, the Baltimore Ravens. They select A.J. Brown. I think Lamar Jackson could use as many weapons as possible in that offense, and I think A.J. Brown can do so, and especially because he can line up anywhere. He can line up on the outside, in the slot, so Baltimore and Harbaugh can really move A.J. Brown and really work their offensive system the way Lamar Jackson wants it, but then also really complementing how A.J. Brown can be used in that offense as well. Houston at 23, I have them selecting Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle from Washington State. I think Houston could use an upgraded offensive line, and I think Andre Dillard can also do that so he can get some more protection for Deshaun Watson when he's running around. Now at 24, now it's the Oakland Raiders, their second pick. I have them picking Brian Burns at this point from Florida State, the outside linebacker. This gives them another nice pair along with Josh Allen to keep working on their defense. They're solidifying their defense a little bit more. Number 25, Josh Jacobs to the Philadelphia Eagles, the running back from Alabama. There's a lot of mock drafts that have Josh Jacobs just going to Philadelphia because Philadelphia could use a running back like him, and they could just use any kind of running game at this point for this offense. So I think that's a solid pick there so that they can get something else for Carson Wentz besides passing the ball all the time so they can actually get some running games going. Indianapolis at 26, they picked N'Keal Harry. I have them. This is a great pair for T.Y. Hilton because I think T.Y. Hilton's more of that vertical guy. N'Keal Harry can really be used in the inside routes, so I think this gives a great weapon for Andrew Luck on the offense. At number 27, the Oakland Raiders, like I said, Christian Wilkins, the DT from Clemson, so I think all those three picks of those defense, you already have a defensive tackle, an outside linebacker, two outside linebackers, one of them being Josh Allen, who is / an edge rusher, so you can really use him as an edge rusher too, and then Christian Wilkins in the interior. I think those are three solid guys, and then of course you have Sheldon Vay also in the interior for the Oakland Raiders, who's been doing pretty well as well, so those are pretty four solid guys you can really rely on defense to try to stop the running game a little bit more. At number 28, the LA Chargers, I have them selecting Dexter Lawrence from Clemson. Now, this could really change because I could have, for all intents and purposes, switched Wilkins with Lawrence. Here, they can flip-flop in any position, but as I have it, I have Wilkins first. Then Dexter Lawrence second for the LA Chargers. I think that's a solid pick because the Chargers already have Bosa and Ingram, and getting Dexter Lawrence inside the interior there could really help them out with run-stopping defense and could really disrupt the timing for the quarterback in the pocket. Number 29, the Kansas City Chiefs. They select their cornerback, Byron Murphy from Washington. Kansas City Chiefs definitely need a quarterback. They needed a number one corner at this point after losing Marcus Peters 2 seasons ago, and I think Byron Murphy can help them solidify that number one corner spot. Green Bay at number 30, I had them selecting another offensive guy in Paris Campbell. I think that's a solid pick for them because that gives them another weapon that they could use, but 30 is also kind of a hard pick for me because Green Bay, for all intents and purposes, could also just go back to defense or even a running back in this draft spot. So this one really is, for me, is not a 100% guaranteed pick. I really just like this pick just because Aaron Rodgers gets another weapon that he can use. And I think Green Bay, as a team, they're more of a vertical threat. So I think Aaron Rodgers does a lot of things on his feet to make those plays possible. So having talent around him that can find where the ball is and where Aaron Rodgers throws it to, I think that could really help a Green Bay offense like that. Then the LA Rams on number 31, they get Garrett Bradbury from NC State. A lot of mock drafts have this, so shouldn't really be too much of a surprise because he's the solid center that they could use under that system since John Sullivan is not there anymore. LA Rams opted not to re-sign him on the contract again, so he's an unrestricted free agent. So the LA Rams getting Garrett Bradbury would help them solidify that center spot. And then the New England Patriots at 32, this really could go either way. They could possibly just pick the best guy in the board in the draft, but I mean, it's really just a pick and choose kind of thing for the New England Patriots when it comes to draft day because they're not focused on drafting players. They're more focused on picking up whoever is available that they think is the best. So 32, I have them picking Chris Lindstrom from Boston College. I heard a lot of analysts out there that saying that Lindstrom is like the typical offensive guard that will work under the Patriots system. Like he's the Patriot way kind of guy that they will like to have. So that's really the only reason why I'm picking him for the New England Patriots. It's just because Lindstrom just fits the mold for the New England Patriots. But that does it for the mock draft. The draft, of course, is later this week, so it's going to be very exciting. But I hope you enjoyed this mock draft of mine. Next week, I'm going to try to get one more show in before the semester ends, and then we're going to have to be on break. So our next show, we're going to try to see where the draft results and how everything played out. And we'll talk about the results of it and how the teams have kind of shaken up after the draft and see where it kind of lands right now. So thank you guys for listening to this week's SkiBallin Podcast. We hand the ball over to you.